I originally came in to do this course because I wanted to go on to do forensic science. I had been out of education for quite a while, so I was returning as a mature student. So this was the course that I needed to take me further on to university because I did not obtain degree qualifications at high school. So this is the perfect course for me to do that.
So for me, I'd spent a long time working in social care and health, primarily with people with learning disabilities, and I'd worked a lot with different professions and kind of chosen one that spoke to me, but I didn't have the grades from high school when I left, almost over 10 years ago now. So I wanted to get the grades so I could go to university and study to become speech and language therapist. So that was why I came back to full-time education.
So I decided to do it because I was working in an office for 5 years and I was bored, basically. So I wanted to go into something that I would enjoy, and yeah, that was really why.
I decided to take the course because my career wasn't really going where I wanted it to, and I thought this was a really good opportunity to do something different, get into a new career.
To be honest, I've really enjoyed using my brain again and actually learning. I know that sounds a bit cliche, but it's definitely empowered me. I feel a lot more confident, and I've also really enjoyed my college period as well. That's been the main thing, being really good support for each other. So that's been probably the highlight for me, is learning things that I care about and doing it with a great bunch of people as well.
I've really enjoyed meeting new people. I've enjoyed the challenge to the course and just starting something new.
I think for me, it was the most enjoyable bit because it was a terrifying experience to come back, to leave full-time work, to come back to the, Monday to Friday education. And I think what I enjoyed the most was the group of people that I ended up studying with, because we were all in the same, or most of us certainly, were in the same boat. We'd all left full-time jobs, we'd all given up a lot to come back and undertake this, what is a huge task. And it was throughout the year, I think you bond and you come together and you work as a team and you help each other out. And I think that for me was the most enjoyable bit. And I've made some lasting friendships as well with the people I've studied with, which is nice.
For me, it's been doing the biology, because that's what I want to go into, is the biological side of things. So I really enjoyed starting my journey of learning about the body. So yeah, it's been good.
I'd probably say the balancing of workloads and life. So I have a child as well, so trying to balance revision and family care, and the workload that you have to do, because it's quite an intense course, so there's quite a bit of content to get through in quite a short period of time. So I would say that was the most challenging thing, is kind of prioritising your time, setting enough time aside to do the revision that you need to do. Yeah.
The most challenging part has probably been adjusting to the pace of life. I was a chef in my previous career, and it was a different pace of life. So that was probably the most challenging.
So I think one thing I would say the most challenging thing, even before coming on the course, was the idea of it. Even that idea of what you're giving up and focusing on what you're going to achieve. But then, I guess for me, focusing specifically on learning, it was getting into that routine of studying again. It's easy to come to your class and engage in the lesson, but then getting into that routine outside of class of studying, of reading what you've done that day, that was definitely difficult because I wasn't used to that. I would go to work, I'd come home, and that was me, free. Whereas this year it's been, go home and study or get off to work, part time, So it's definitely been the most difficult thing.
I would say going straight into chemistry was quite difficult, as I've never studied that before. I never did it at school, so it was quite a challenge going straight into that. It was also challenging going back to studying, I guess. Having been away from studying for so long, it was quite difficult getting back into it to begin with, but we got there.
This particular swap course, I would try and read up on some National 5 and at the very least of the subjects that you're going to be studying, just so you can sort of familiarise yourself with that. Make sure you've got the books that you need to have in preparation for that, and just expect that it'll be quite intense and quite a lot of stuff to get through. So just to prepare to make sure you have enough time aside, maybe cutting down hours of working as well would probably be a good idea.
What would I say? I would say just stop thinking about it and just go and do it. It's probably one of the best things I've done.
I guess coming back to what I've just said, get that routine of whatever you've done that day in whichever class, go home that night, spend an hour, half an hour, read it on the tram on the way home, so that, you're not losing that. I think that was something that regrettably I didn't start to do until probably about halfway through. So if I was speaking to someone who was starting the course tomorrow, I would say start that from day one. Keep reading what you're doing, because otherwise, the last minute crammers, you don't need that stress with everything else that's going on in your life. So stack your knowledge, I guess, is the phrase.
I would say, for me, if I was to do it again, I would probably study prior to a lesson rather than after. Prepare before, and it kind of takes the slack off when you need to study for an assessment or something, rather than having to cram at the very last minute. I would say, get on top of studying, dedicate time during the week to studying.
Hopefully going to Edinburgh University in September to embark on a biological sciences degree. I've not actually chosen what I'm going to be specialising in yet, but that's the future plan. After over a year at uni, I'll know what I want to do, so that is my next step, providing I get my grades. And that's it, yep. Not really sure after that in terms of a career. Forensic science was what I wanted to do, but it's maybe not particularly the forefront of what I'm going to be doing, because there's so much to do in science that there's quite a range of things to choose from, so hopefully that'll become more clear as time goes on.
Well, I intend to go on and study at Edinburgh University, and hoping to study biological sciences. After that, I'll probably go and work in some biotech industries.
I'm starting studying biomedical sciences in Dundee next September, and I'm really, really excited about it. I can't wait for it. It's like, yes.
Providing I get the grades, I'll be off to Queen Margaret University to study speech and language therapy, which is crazy now to imagine that that's actually happening. And then I hope to be a practicing speech and language therapist in Edinburgh, so providing I make it through uni, which I'm sure I will.
For me, I've been accepted into Queen Margaret, so I'm going to do a physiotherapy degree.